2 good exercises is everything you need to grow your chest. But the contrary is what most actually do. They have 6 different variations and then wonder why they aren't seeing progress in any of them. Because it's not about the quantity, but the quality that matters. And the best chest exercise out there is the incline bench press. And the reason I love that exercise so much is because it has the best out of both worlds. You have a bar that makes it very easy for you to overload and really precisely choose which weight you want. Because of the incline bench, we're training more of the incline chest, which is just more aesthetic in general. And also because of the incline bench, it puts just, in general, less pressure on our shoulder, which reduces the injury risk compared to a normal bench press. It is more stable because you have a rack, you're inside a rack, which allows you to use more leg drive. You have safety bars because of the rack, and because of the bar, I would say it's easier on the wrist because you can just adjust where the bar is laying better than dumbbells. The only real cons I see is that first of all, you need a rack, and preferably a good rack, where you can find adjustments according to you, so they need to fit to you. A good bench is of course a really good pro, and you have just less freedom compared to a dumbbell bench press, where you can just have dumbbells, you're super free, you can choose the path of the movement. You're not fixed to the bar. If I don't give you a couple of tips, it would be, first of all, find a good rack. If you do not have a good rack in the gym where you can adjust the settings according to you that they fit really well, don't do the exercise. Just do a normal incline dumbbell press instead. But if you can find a good bar, do this exercise in my opinion. Also, of course, find a good bench where you can tilt the bench up to about 30 to 45 degree angle. I'm doing 30-degree angle. And after you've found a good rack and a good bench, find your perfect settings. Take like 1 or 2 sessions, just try out different settings, up, lower, safety bars, and this and here, and write it down. That you always have the same settings when you're bench pressing. Then take your time and figure out the form. I made a full video on bench press form and incline bench press form. Check out the second link in the description if you would like to. But just to summarize the form, always pin your shoulder blades back. It will give you more freedom, will give you more stability, and will put less stress on the shoulders. Then use leg drive. Push yourself into the bench all the time. The second you unrack the bar, you will want to press yourself into that bench. It will give you so much more stability, which equals that you can grind out reps so much easier. The butt should always stay on the bench, no lifting and freaking thrusting and shit. I don't want to see that. Then lay the bar on the bone, on the wrist bone, not inside the wrist. This will save a lot of injuries, wrist injuries, pain, and so on. The way I train incline bench press is quite simple. I do 2 to 3 sets between 6 and 12 repetitions, and I train around 1 to 2 reps away from failure. So not to absolute failure, because then your future sets will just be trash and destroyed. And I use progressive overload with a method called repetition goals. So right now I'm training with 2 sets and I have 2 repetition goals. The first set, my repetition goals is 6 reps, and the second set, my repetition goal is 10 reps. Meaning, I do a set, and if I hit 6 repetitions, I add 2.5 to 5 kilograms. If you're a beginner, 5 kilograms. If you've been doing this for a while, 2.5 kilograms will be enough. Then I take some good rest, 2 to 5 minutes of rest, and then I do the second set. When I hit the rep goal of 10 repetitions, the next time I bench, I add 2.5 or 5 kilograms. Very simple. That way you always keep progressing, you don't stay stuck. If you want to, you can change the rep goals for higher or lower reps, whatever you like, but choose it according to your goal. The second best chest exercise is the dip. I love dip for a lot of different reasons. First of all, you're using your own body weight. And all body weight exercises are just phenomenal because you're building real strength. Being able to move your own body weight is just, I think, one of the most important things you can achieve. It's also the most functional. Climbing, whatever you're doing, you want to be able to move your own body weight. Then it's really easy to overload. You can have a lot of different, like really slow reps, really explosive reps. You can do a lot of reps, or you can just buy a weighted belt and just add weight that way. The dip trains more lower chest compared to upper chest, but it's also really killer for your tricep and your delts, especially the front delt. You don't need to train front delts if you're doing these two exercises, especially the dip. I also find the exercise really fun, and it's quite easy to see progress. But you gotta be careful. It is really easy to just think, I know how this works, and then you start to add more weight, and you have the wrong form, and then you injure yourself. So make sure to prioritize the right form. And I'm talking from experience. I have injured myself doing this a little bit on the shoulder here, because I just added weight, and I didn't really figure out the form fully. Another con is that it takes some practice to get into. A lot of people cannot really do dips when they start at the gym, which makes it hard, of course. But there are a lot of ways you can start to learn dips. I made a full video about that as well. But the dip is just an amazing exercise, so it's really worth time spending to learn it. Because after that you can progress. If you can do a couple dips, you can just learn more, and then you can add weight, and you'll just see a lot of progress. Some tips I can give you is, of course, find a stable bar that doesn't wiggle around, that is good. Then get the form like I said. You know, get shoulder width, put the bar also on your bone, not into your wrist. Then lean a little bit forward, go to parallel between your elbows, push up quite explosively, go down quite slow and controlled, and brace your abs when you're doing the exercise. And also really important, have straight legs. So find a rack where you can have straight legs without needing to bend them. That really makes it a lot easier for the balance, for the exercise, and for everything else in general. Depending if you're training with weighted or not, I'm doing between 2 and 4 sets. And everything between 6 to 20 repetitions. If you want to start doing weighted reps, I would say that you at least need to be able to do 15 to around 20 reps. If you can do that many bodyweight reps, you're in good hands, and you will really fast progress in the weighted section. Here I also use rep goals, of course. So in the first set I have my rep goal of 8 repetitions, and the second set 12 repetitions as the goal. And here you can really add weight. I like to add 5 kilograms. Like I said, don't add too much weight, and ego lift. If you want to train with body weight, I do 4 sets with a little bit less rest in between that I would do if I train with weighted. And then you try to do max reps, which means you do as many reps as you possibly can, but you still stay away from failure. So you're never going to failure, absolute failure. Always 1 to 2 reps away, but you're still pushing out as many reps as possible. And if you're doing 4 sets and you're taking the same amount of rest and you're feeling good, and you keep doing that, you will really see the reps go up and go up and go up, and then you can do weighted if you would like to. So that was everything for today. And if you just use these 2 exercises, these are basically the only chest exercises I use, and if you really focus, try to get the perfect form and train really hard on them, you will see amazing progress. You will see the weight go up, you will see progress in your chest, and you don't need to think about anything else anymore. You can focus on leg day instead, because we all know we are lacking the legs. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section, and have a freaking good one.